Hmm.
So,
But that goes along with the whole layout with God is the head of the family. The husband is the head under him, then the wife, then the children. And that's the way that God planned it.
There are some straight
But we're
couples that
not we're
don't
not
kids.
again we're not considering the Bible in this critique.
I'm sorry. I consider the Bible in
All
everything
right,
that I do. Sorry.
what?
all right,
Well,
all right,
you,
all right. Let's
but
take this away from the Bible.
That's what
Do
they're
what?
trying to
All
do.
right.
the
Look at Taoism or Taoism and other cultures and ancient thoughts like that. Back to the philosophy. All
Right.
right. There's a balance that is kept, the yin and the yang, the male and the female. All right. You have the divine feminine and the divine masculine. All right. One cannot exist without the other. Both are needed for balance.
Yeah, that's all the way back to the
The
Hermetic
whole
principles.
universe
I don't.
revolves
I don't.
around that.
I don't believe none of that though. I don't. There's one God, and
We're
that
not
is it.
talking about though individual beliefs. We're saying, are there arguments that can be marshaled outside of the scriptures against
Oh,
homosexuality?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are.
And there's no reason why you can't go ahead and go from a natural law perspective, because that's still
Right.
within God's creation. I understand you
Right.
not wanting to go with another religious doctrine or
that's not
system
what we're
behind
saying.
it. So I do concede that one to you. But
Yeah, what
if
about
it's
I mean, I will also
but if it's true, it's true, and you're going to be able to find that in natural law as well, which is also God breathed.
What about trees? Let's look at trees. You got your male tree and you got your female tree. And this is something I researched when I realized that
you got that
when I
on a
was
lot
kid,
of trees.
When I was a kid, we didn't have we could open our windows in the spring and turn the attic fan on, which sucks air into the house. And the house did not have to be cleaned immediately because it got yellow crap all over it. Okay. And so I did some research on it. Come to find out that everybody wants a little pedicured yard. So they get, is it the male tree? Yeah, the male tree is the
male tree
pollinator,
puts out the pollen,
and the female tree
develops
is the one that drops the trash all in your yard.
Yep.
Okay, so they started planting more male trees instead of female trees, but one can't live without the other. They both need the pollination.
Right. But everything works.
Bees.
Right, but everything works for design. That is right for certain trees.
Exactly.
All trees don't follow that though.
Okay.
You do. There are some trees that are self-pollinating.
Yep.
A lot of pecan trees do that.
Yeah, you can buy self-pollinating fruit trees at your local nursery.
Yep.
Which usually have male and female grafted into the same base.
But when you're looking at parallels, you're looking at parallels that are comparable to us. So we're looking for male and female in the creation part. So,
but I know that I think that sociology also shows that the instances of whether you want to call it spousal abuse or partner abuse or whatever is extremely elevated in homosexual communities and marriage. The number of partners is off the chart compared to straight couples. And I mean, that was one of the things that I've heard Beckett Cook speak on, is that, you know, that even the deep relationships that he was in, they weren't all that deep as, you know, his straight friends would count it.
Right.
You know, it was very shallow in that respect. And these are things that I think that also needs to be taken into account too. And it, as I brought up earlier, it also affects what you'd call straight relationships now in society, because people they want to go out of that way and put that extra buffer there so that they're not seen as gay. Even though they may think of, you know, that bro is, you know, deeper than blood, his brother, but they don't show it now because, hey, might be called gay. It's not a big deal for people my age, but for kids who are still in school and everything, that's everything. That's peer pressures.
Yeah, but we could
off
take
the
that.
charts.
We could take that all the way to men don't open doors for women anymore because they don't want to be called a womanizer, or they might get screamed at, or you know.
I was going to say
society sucks. It's been so mushed around. I mean, you know, in all honesty, I'm glad I'm 62 because I really have no urge to date or anything else. Because at this point, if I was to date, I would require a DNA test. I would require so much stuff just to prove that you are a man. I mean, that's how bad society has gotten. And we wonder why our kids are gay or bisexual or wanting to get a sex change. I mean, it's on the TV, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, just like she said, she picked up a book in their school library.
Yeah.
That is just so wrong.
Yeah, you can find videos on social media of people that are that bring books to school board meetings, and the school boards that's attending tries to shut them down because they're reading excerpts out of a book that are completely
and they said
pornographic.
That's not appropriate for this meeting.
Well, then why is it appropriate for the school library?
Exactly.
I mean, that's where we're at. And that's why kids are so confused about everything now. What's left isn't left anymore, and what's right isn't right anymore. Up isn't down. Yeah, I mean, it's just everything is flipped around, and it's horrible.
Yeah, and in the midst of all of this, we also need to remember to keep ourselves in check and keep out of this self-righteousness position whenever we're picking out, what one thing is worse than another. Right. I mean, I don't believe that all sins are equal in severity. They all keep us from being able to be close to God, but they carry different consequences and make different levels of damage. That's why I have more respect for a monogamous homosexual couple than I do for people that live by the concept of promiscuity every day.
Yeah.
That's me. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't even partake of going to the clubs anymore. And you know me, most of my friends were musicians. I used to go out and party, used to go out and hang out in the bars all the time. I don't do none of that anymore because it's not where I am in my life. I mean, it doesn't represent God. And the Bible says if it doesn't represent God, then you're not supposed to be doing it. You can't be part of the world and you can't be part of him too. You have to, you got to get on one side or the other.
You're right.
It's from James, right? Up in the waves, can't be wishy-washy.
Yeah. I mean, literally, I hate the way society is now. I hate what they're doing to our kids. I have 4 grandkids. And I look at them all the time and I'm waiting. I'm waiting, when am I going to get some bombshell from them? It's just, it sucks. And then you tell them it's wrong. And then they think that you hate them and they don't understand. It's, because it's normal. It's normal. That's normal to them. It's not normal to us. And it's
people. If we do whatever we want, we are enormous wrecking balls. And the damage that we do, not only to other people, but subtly to society is huge. It's like someone I saw the other day quipping saying, and they were in their 70s, and said, when I went to high school, they taught Greek and Latin in high school. He said, now in high school, they're trying to teach you, relationally, it's we can't even define a man and a woman. And it's like,
no,
that's where we've gone in our system is we've dropped so low that kids don't even really know what they're giving up.
There's a bunch of things that are wrong.
I'll correct you real quick. We can define what a man is.
Mm-hmm.
We can
define what a woman is.
Exactly. Too. We can't define what a woman is because apparently a man can become a woman even though a man ain't a woman, and a woman can become a man even though she ain't a man. But we can easily define what a man is, especially if he's heterosexual, cisgender, white male. And the older ones are even worse. And that's the person that we're supposed to hate the most in society.
Yep.
And what's so funny is because back in this would have been the early 90s. I was in a club downtown Atlanta. And I went to go to the bathroom. And it was so obvious back then, unlike now. This thing, I'm going to say, and I'm being polite, was coming in the bathroom as I was coming in the bathroom. But it was so obvious that they weren't what they were portraying to be. should I say? Because back then they didn't have the stuff they have now to be able to cover it all up and look
padded
like they
undergarments.
Right, exactly. That was the first time in my life that I ever saw a tranny, and this was in the 90s. But that was a rarity. You didn't see it all the time. Now they're at school. You go to the store. You go to the hospital. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go. You're going to find one. But, back when I was in school, we had sex education, right? Sex education back then was your basics. I mean, literally the basics of biologic and sex and male and female and this, that, and the other. Now, it's how to put a rubber on, how to have safe sex. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. It's They're teaching them.
There is, I was going to say, there is no safe sex because you're engaging a person on their absolute deepest level. And that's part of the other...
Yeah, that's just the mental aspect.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We remind all of our listeners that the views and opinions of the show hosts and guests appearing on Mojo 50 Radio are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Cuddle Me Buff LLC, its owners and partners, or this network. Thank you for listening to Mojo 50 Radio.
I love being an independent woman, but sometimes even I need something strong and rugged. I'm not opposed to having a relationship that will last forever. That's why I got myself a cat cooler. What? You thought I was going to say a man? They're made in the United States, and they come with a lifetime guarantee. What else could a girl ask for? Find your life partner at catcoolers.com. Catcoolers.com.
Society nowadays has made the highest form of love be sexual intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's, the highest aspiration of love, which is really just, you're just rutting like animals at that point. For thousands of years after Christ, the Western civilization, and still with Christians, was agape. Selfless love was the highest ideal of love. And we've gotten away from that. We don't have an agape love anymore. We have self-love in
100%.
home.
Now people are more into how much money they can make, what expensive clothes they can get, what expensive cars, houses. Me. It's all about me. I want to do what I want to do, and I don't care if you like it or not.
Right. But see, in that, people don't realize that in that admission, they're also tactile admitting that, hey, it's okay if you do whatever you want to do, and I don't have any business in it either, which means, you know what? You have no basis to condemn any behavior at that point. I mean, if you've given up, okay, you know what? It's your truth now, and I got my truth, and you got your truth, and we'll deal with it. Then you can kiss society goodbye at that point.
If you don't believe that there's any absolutes in truth, then everything is subjective, and you cannot catch anybody else in what would be a lie anymore, because that's just their truth, and that's how things change for them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying a little bit earlier, people don't give enough credit for how much of an actual connection that it is between people, especially with that level of vulnerability that there is in order to have that sexual relationship with another person.
Right.
And the more you continue to participate in that and then take for granted for that on top of it, essentially the less human you end up becoming.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also a connection. I don't know where it says it, but there's somewhere in the Bible it says something about basically once you're with, which is part of the reason that he didn't like people like divorcing and then remarrying and stuff, because you have that tie, that physical tie, that connection.
it also says that whenever you go to have another partner, you're basically, that's the whole concept of